Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis. What would you tell a brand new staff member on the day before kids arrive?
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
A big thanks to our sponsors who make the CampHacker podcast possible. Imagine camp registration software that actually gives you more time to do what you love. With UltraCamp, you can effortlessly track attendance, manage staff, streamline registration, and more. Explore now at ultracampmanagement.com/camphacker. Why spend hours on your schedules only to find mistakes and missed activities for your campers? Let Camptivities do the heavy lifting and help you create the best schedule yet, without the mistakes and in less time. Come check out Camptivities, specifically designed for camps by camp people. Find out more at camptivities.com.
Hello, Camp Mavericks, and welcome to the CampHacker podcast brought to you by UltraCamp, Camptivities, and the Camp Recruiting and Retention Playbook from Joanna Warren-Smith and me. I'm Travis Allison. I'm a summer camp consultant specializing in getting parents to open, read, and act on your emails.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hudson. I am a camp consultant and founder and director of Camp Highlight, a sleepaway camp for children from LGBTQ families. It is award-winning. It's won all the awards that I've made up for it.
Yeah.
And I'm psyched to be here.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're here, Chris. Thank you for joining me. I would like to say we're looking forward to our next episode that Chris and I will be recording at the ACA Tri-State Conference. And we have a really cool topic. We have to just lock it down, but I'm really excited to deal with the next one. Not Travis. That I'm not excited about this topic with you, Chris. I can hardly wait until someone else joins us and we talk about someone else.
A couple of things. One, you teased next week without giving any details, right?
Yeah.
Two, you're like, you started this episode being like, I'm so excited about next episode.
Next time.
Everyone listening, this is going to be cool too, Travis.
Chris and I worked hard to be here with you today, and we're a little giddy. So it should be a funny show.
Neither of us had a lot of sleep, so get ready, everyone. Get ready, North America, wherever you are.
Yes. So, Chris, I want to set the scene. I imagine I'm picturing this, and I know the timeline doesn't exactly line up for your camp experience, for Highlight experience, probably does with your other camp experiences, but picturing that you've had a good bunch of days of staff training, you're feeling confident, your staff is feeling great, you have a chance to get in front of just your newbies, just the people who are new counselors, new to you, new to the site, and you have them in a little room. What would be the advice that you would tell them? Kids are coming tomorrow. They've got so much in their head and they're obviously nervous. So they have a little bit of a break and then kids come. What do you say?
I have a list of things.
Great.
A list of things, which I guess when you look at it is just the staff training. But if I distill it down, I'm trying to think about myself. When I was 19 years old and the first time I went to sleepaway camp, I arrived late at night. I was stumbling through the woods. I could hear people near a campfire. I stumbled into the circle.
Yeah.
And I said my first words at campsite, which were, I think I forgot my pillow. I think back to that. I was such a confident counselor, at 19. By that time, I'd been working with kids since I was in elementary school, working with younger kids. So maybe it's not a complete analog, but the one thing I would say to people, first of all, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. There are camps, all over the continent, and every summer, like dozens of them aren't in the news. Do you know what I mean? Like
totally.
Generally things tend to go okay.
Yep.
Not that you shouldn't be vigilant, but like you are not the catcher in the rye. The kids are going to be fine because you're not alone.
Yep.
And then honestly, if I can distill it, and then I'm going to hit this question back to you. The second thing I would do for them, if it wasn't already done in staff training, I'd drill down this, define what an emergency is.
Yes. Great. That's really smart.
What is an emergency?
Yep.
Is an emergency And I tell my staff this all the time, and eyebrows get raised. And I was like, what do you do if you're alone and a kid has to go to the bathroom? He says he really, really has to go right now. Do you take him to the bathroom alone? And they're like, yes. I'm like, no. I was like, a kid pissing his pants is not an emergency. We have laundry. That's not an emergency. That's not an excuse for you to be off alone and a kid with some bathroom in some bathroom. It's not an emergency. And they're like, but what if? I said, no, that's not it. So I haven't really defined what an emergency is as far as my camp is concerned, which is like serious bodily harm to the child. I'm not talking about a scrape. I'm not talking about a fall. I'm talking about something that something's more serious than that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you how many times over the past 30 years, some young counselor you see them running, booking with you with a kid in their arms. He got stung by a bee. I'm like, and is he allergic? Yeah. No, then why did you run across that intersection with a child in your arms? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do.
That's great. Because it's really hard when you're young.
This is what an emergency is. Yeah.
And you're nervous and you don't want to, and it's somebody else's kids. Like you've just spent the whole staff training period being said, this is somebody else's kids. These people are very important. Yeah. And then we turn around, we're like, dude, that's not an emergency.
But I don't think these things, because I start off every training like, I mean, I start off rough, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm like, these parents are entrusted us with their children's well-being. And they're every moment they're thinking about their child, and you have to be thinking about them and the child.
Yeah.
I go in really, really hard until they're shaking. But I think that dovetails with what an emergency is. Because young people because you go through the whole training, but what upends young staff is that when they think something is like, oh, I have to inform people right now, then the training goes out the window. So I think that's the first and last thing that you teach them. Right. What do you think, though? Mine was pretty great. What's yours?
Well, and to add on to yours, I think like an easier mnemonic for me, and maybe it's hard to know if you're employing 16 or 17-year-olds, or even for sure college kids who haven't had a lot of life experience. Maybe you just don't know the answer to this thing. My question as a camp director is, do I have to call in somebody from outside? Like that's an emergency to me. Do I have to call an ambulance? Do I have to call a plumber because there's sewage? Like that changes the grade for me. I remember telling staff that if a kid falls from higher than their height, then we take it seriously. Then it's not just and most kids will bounce off most of those things, but that's when anyway. So yeah, I agree with you. I think my piece of advice is that talking is more important than doing. And for me, that is a bad summary of Beth's big training expression, which is people are more important than programs.
Okay.
So if you have a chance, Chris and I were talking about one of my camp experiences before we're recording, where I loved a counselor who, and we had the flexibility to do it because we programmed as a unit. So our cabin went from activity to activity, weren't spread out and coming back together at meals. So the counselors had some flexibility. The counselor talked to the activity people that we were supposed to go to and said, we're not coming. And then we just took the afternoon off and played in the woods. And it was honestly, to this day, I remember it so much. It was such an amazing experience. And that was just that counselor having an idea and being willing to try it. And I remember as a director trying to push staff, I was like, you can not go to arts and crafts today. They're not going to be offended. Just let us know, but go play in the woods. We have woods, just get off of the routine and just let your kids play. But the first part of that really was talking more important than doing. Like start conversations, start conversations. Don't make your whole life as a camp counselor just counting heads and moving kids from place to place. This
is hard though, because I'm listening to you and it's like, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to be like, here's our policies, here's the rules, here's like the mandatory storm, fire, here in America, like shooter drills, like you go through all of those things. And then you say, hey, but take your time, go play in the woods. Like, would that be confusing to a young person? Like, how do you scaffold that conversation so they understand where things belong? Because on one level, at our camp, we take it really seriously when people are late for activities.
Okay.
But at the same time, we tell them be loose, be flexible, be
Right.
responded to the moment.
Yeah.
And I understand how that might land for a 21-year-old. So
Sure.
what do you say to someone? Yeah, because I know what all of that means because I
Sure.
have
It's
the
kind of both
experience.
sidism. Sure.
You know what I mean? I have the
Very
experience
bad
now.
use of that
But
expression,
how,
but
yes.
yeah.
How do you define that for someone who doesn't have the experience then?
Right.
Because
Right.
I think that's the real code to crack here.
Right.
And I don't know if I have an answer. I think if we had to like list like what a camp counselor's duties are writ large,
Yeah.
I think the physical safety of the children, the emotional safety of the children, those are one, right? And then like somewhere there's something at two, I have to think about it. Then three is like, maintain the culture of camp and having fun.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's not a lot of flexibility with the first one, which is why I bring it back to the emergency thing, is making them understand what is actually dangerous to the physical and emotional health of the child.
Right.
Anyway, I'm just rambling now, but it's got me thinking, how do we give that message without
The decision-making tools?
Both sides of our mouth?
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of this comes from a lesson I learned as a first year director when I was really mad at a staff member for being late to a meeting. And I kind of handed off the meeting and I went to find her because I was so mad at her. And it had found her in the laundry room washing kids' sleeping bags so because she could do it subtly and not embarrass the child. And thankfully she had she had her own self fortitude to say, no, Travis, you're wrong. I was looking after kids. Like you told me I put kids first. Like, right. So, I mean, that's like, it's so big. We've all of a sudden made it big. All I want to tell that first year counselor is have conversations with every kid every day. That's the thing for me. Like make each kid feel noticed and appreciated every day. If at some point you want to do the big things, you want to go off the schedule, you want to, just break down and take a room in the community center and, play role-playing games with your kids for an afternoon, even though that's not on the schedule, we can get there. We'll decide. But I want you as a counselor to talk to every kid every day. I want you to know their names. I want them to feel noticed and appreciated. All the rest of it, the safety, like, that's important, but
how do you I'm just speaking from my own experience.
Yeah.
When I tell young counselors that, they take it as sort of like a very tactical task.
Yeah.
Like they'll make like a checklist on their clipboard.
Which I'm not opposed to.
I'm not either. But the thing what I want to add to your thing is like make sure you talk to every kid every day. I would just add organically.
Yeah.
Because I have seen staff, it gets a little mechanical.
Sure.
Like I see them with the clipboard. They're like looking.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Tyler, can you come here for a second?
Right.
So Tyler, how was your day? And now Tyler's in like 5-minute counseling with you know what I'm saying? With the counselor. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm just picking, I'm just picking strands here, but like okay. This is what I want to say.
Great.
I find that counselors, because young people who are doing the job don't have a lot of experience. They really want to rely on either the staff handbook, if they've read it, or they want to treat everything as if it's a tactical task.
Sure.
Now, it's like, Beth says people over programs. I don't know how to get them there before the first year. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
I think they come in and they're already so nervous that they want to do the checklist thing for everything. Shaking them out of that and being like, you have to remember to have fun. You have to remember that, like, more or less, everything's going to be okay. You have to remember that. Again, I want to prepare people appropriately for how stressful it is.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stunt their creativity. Like I used to disappear in the woods with kids for like probably too long. Like honestly, when I was a counselor, like probably too long. And then we come like screaming out of the woods because whatever game that we were playing. Most of the time, no one ever knew we were gone, which well, I got to think about the administration of those camps, but most of the time people didn't know what it was, but it was brilliant. And they still talk about it to this day, like 25 years later.
Absolutely.
And I wish
40 years later.
I just don't think you can, I'm going to say this on a podcast where we like give advice, but like, I don't know how you get that across without having the experience? I'm not sure there's anything that I could say other than what we've already stated.
Yeah.
I don't know if, oh wow, am I coming to it? I don't know if there's anything you can say to adequately prepare them without the actual experience of doing it. Is that fair?
So maybe that's the thing. Like if we're, because I don't want to say that that's the end of this discussion. The end. Here's our tool of the week.
No.
But maybe you can say to a staff member, and I honestly think that this is the difference between some programs. Highlight is so short, and I'm thinking of summer being 9 weeks. So it's okay if your first week you get this. Honestly, I want counselors to go through these things, build the routine, do that. I think it kind of happens by Wednesday or Thursday of the first week where they're like, okay, now I see where I can find the fun in this. So I think it's okay to say, find your feet, keep everybody safe. Don't back away from having fun with them. Don't back away from conversations.
And go slow.
Don't be like, this kid wants to talk to me about how much they love the rock they found. And I'm like, we have to get to swimming. No, like that's the thing. Like move them along, hustle, just hurt them a little bit, but have the conversation. So I want them to be open to those moments in some way.
No, I get that. And that's something you could really drill down in staff training, like continue to reinforce that. I think in your staff training, it'd have to be a real back and forth between like, here's the practical, tactical aspects of it. And here's sort of like the fluffier parts of it where it's like, just noticing like what a kid's doing with a stick. What are you doing? Oh, I'm a Jedi. This is a lightsaber. Sweet. You know what? Just allowing them to say that to you.
Yeah.
Like you're participating in their play.
Yeah.
Specifically by not judging them for doing it.
Totally.
And that's really important. And I think getting across to staff that those interactions are worthwhile. You don't have to drop everything and be like, the Sith Lord to his Jedi.
Yeah.
You could be like, sweet, cool, give him hell, whatever.
Yeah.
And move on. Go slow is what I'd also say to people who are doing like 6 to 8 week camps, like you said. You're not going to get it the first couple of days. You're not going to get it the first week, and you're going to hit a wall somewhere between 6 to 10 days. You're going to hit a wall, and it's going to hurt. And you push through it, and you'll be fine.
This episode of the CampHacker podcast is brought to you by UltraCamp. CampHacker listeners can discover the best marketing tools and apps for camps by visiting ultracampmanagement.com/camphacker and downloading the free guide, The Marketing Toolbox. The Marketing Toolbox has been updated for 2024 summer, so there's some great stuff for you to check out there. As a camp pro, do you remember what drew you to the camp experience? What made you the passionate camp pro that you are? UltraCamp knows that it wasn't for the paperwork. That's why they have crafted an all-in-one platform to streamline your program management. UltraCamp gives you powerful tools that put you in control of your information. It allows you to automate critical processes like registration and billing, and generate customized reports to give you valuable insights, such as the ones that we've been talking about today on our show. It also allows you to streamline your hiring process, including integrating background checks, and quickly communicate with your clients, your donors, and your families. UltraCamp's goal is to help their clients spend less time in the office and more time having an impact with kids. If you want to know if UltraCamp is right for you, they offer customized, free demo sessions so you can see the software in action, talking about your very specific needs. You can sign up and get the free download at ultracampmanagement.com/camphacker.
The other thing that comes to mind that I would say, feedback is key.
Yeah.
And teaching them that as a director or an assistant director or a staff wrangler, whatever your admin position is, as that person, I will be talking to you regularly about how you're doing. I will be coaching you on skills that I think you can get. I will be giving you advice about the things that I see that I think you can do better. And when I do that, I need you to know it's not a judgment or a comment on your personality or your personhood. It's just that no one came here 100%. And I'm trying to get you up in the ranks. We don't talk to young people enough like that and explain feedback as something that they want and something they need and something that they should be asking for if they're not getting it.
Right.
Too often people relate feedback to, a red F on your paper circled, and that's the end of the conversation.
Right.
And we can do so much more to prepare them for the jobs that they take after this by just taking the moment to talk about the process of me talking to you and you talking to me. Because, as young and hip as I think I am, which isn't that young or hip because I'm using the word hip, um, I'm still an authority figure
Yeah.
to 21-year-old people. I'm as old
Yep.
as their parents.
Right.
And no matter how fun and cool I am, there's that barrier. They're gonna have a difficulty talking to me because I am their boss. So just trying to, and that's cool. I like the stratification,
Yep.
but they have to understand that it's a constructive relationship and not a
Right.
punitive one.
Right. Yeah. If I say, can I talk to you? I will immediately say you're not in trouble. I just want to talk to you. But I don't know if that's advice for them. I think the advice for them is if somebody who is a supervisor of yours in some way asks to talk, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, don't be defensive.
Right. I mean, that's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. This is controversial. I said this at the conference last week, and people gasped. But like, honestly, when I show up to an activity zone or something,
Yep.
and I call council over, and I'm like, "Hey, I noticed you were doing this. Really, we should be doing it this way." And their response is, "No, Chris, you don't understand. What was going on was this, that, trying to justify the thing that I just said is not appropriate at my camp."
Yeah.
I interrupt them and go, "Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Are you telling me in this conversation that you can't be told? Are you telling me that you can't be coached? That you're as good at this job right now that you're ever going to be?"
Yeah.
Because if that's what you're telling me, there's only one more conversation we need to have.
Sure.
And it sounds really heavy and it sounds really hard. And I implore everyone to soften that tone a little bit. But what I'm getting at is that, like, you're not the best at this.
Right.
I have more experience than you. And here I am spending time trying to coach you. And you're telling me you don't need it. As an employer, that's hard for me to swallow. You know what I mean? Which is why I think the feedback thing is so important to me. So not being defensive. It's hard, but it doesn't mean you can't do it.
Right.
It's hard for adults, but I do it all the time.
Yeah. Yep. This is a tonal shift. But don't be afraid to be silly. Kids need to see adults who are silly. And it's they don't experience it in very many places at all. And to see it come from someone they look up to, respect, etc., is very powerful to them. And to just have someone who will laugh at them and, take a joke the extra step that just, I love nothing more than being in a circle of camp people, camp kids, etc., and laughing till I cry. That is my absolute favorite thing in the entire world. And
mine too.
So I don't
always so memorable.
Yeah, so many of them. With so many dining room tables. But I don't want you as a staff member, as first year staff member, to be so stressed about all these things that we have spent this training time reiterating about how important this job is, to forget that it's okay to be silly. You don't need to, you don't need to be the herder or the authority figure all of the time. It's good for them to see you silly.
Yes. And counterpoint.
Yes.
Counterpoint. Personally, absolutely. You give me the sign, I'll jump up on this table and start singing Beyonce. I'll get my wig. I'll do the whole thing. Like that's performance is part of me, which is why I think I ended up doing this sort of thing.
Right.
Counterpoint is, though, that's not every kid. And that took me too long to understand that not every kid needs you to be Willy Wonka or the Cat in the Hat. You know, sometimes some kids need you to be really steady, like a Mary Poppins sort.
Okay. That's fair.
And figuring out what a kid needs, and maybe that kid doesn't need you, which is why also diversity in staff hiring. Hire some quiet counselors who are good at their job because they're going to be quiet kids. Also, culturally, what we think of as silly in America, at least, and probably Canada, same thing. What we think of as silly may not translate to some Asian cultures, some Middle Eastern cultures. And it's just, it's good to be thoughtful about that before, you force your kids one way or another to like lip sync to Single Ladies. Like you have to think about, you have to think about those kids and what they are used to.
Right.
I think if I could take what you said and just sort of re-say it, I wouldn't say be silly, but encourage the kids to be open and try new things and
Sure.
play.
Yeah.
Because that's going to look different for every
Be playful.
kid. Yeah, to be playful. I think that's
Okay.
the thing. Because all
Sure.
kids play, but all kids don't play the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have back in the 80s, we used to LARP a Russian attack on US soil. And
Right.
we'd run through the streets and we'd be shooting at fake planes. Like
Sure.
that was
Red Dawn at
it
camp.
was so political. It was like 1984. You know, I was like 8 years old. But like, you know what I mean? We would do that for like 6 hours straight. I know that's not a lot of kids' bag.
Right.
And so yeah, I would say be playful, encourage them to be playful. And also recognize that every kid, you're not going to change every kid's life. Not every kid is going to cotton to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very good advice. I've had lots of counselors come crying like, this kid doesn't like me. It's like, yeah.
You know what though, and this fits in this conversation. When I was teaching social work, what I would tell the students the first day is, I know you all got into this business because you want to change lives, you want to be super impactful. I said, I want you to take the long view of your interaction with that client. Okay. You are presenting yourself as a warm person who is willing to listen and help. And maybe they're not in the space now where they can receive that, but you are but a link in a much longer chain. And so when you present yourself as warm and open, it opens up a little bit, maybe not enough to open up to you, but you make it easier for the next person after you. So instead of trying to crack kids open like a nut, just remember, you know, you wiggle it a little bit, they loosen up a little bit, you know, they still never make eye contact with you for that camp season, but they come back next year having the experience of someone being there and they metabolize that.
Right.
So, you know, it's like take the long view with kids who quote unquote don't like me. Like you don't, maybe, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
I still have people telling me like, you said something to me once, kids who aren't in my group, they were adults now. You said something to me once, which changed my life.
Absolutely.
And I was like, every time I'd walk into the room, you'd scream and run out. Like, what? I changed your life? I thought you didn't know my name. So you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that. I think that's really good.
I'm writing all this down. We have like a list of really great stuff.
I think so too. I skimmed over this, but I really want to come back to it. If you're a longtime CampHacker listener, I've told the story many times. When I was a CIT director, I took my CITs away, and we had CITs for a really long period, like a 6 or 7 week program. So we actually were away from camp for 2 weeks, and came back. So the kids who had the kids who had been at camp when we left were different than the kids at camp when we arrived. Arrive on a Thursday night, come in right out of the van, and there's like it was rainy, so it was like an indoor campfire, and people were singing in front of the camp, etc. And I saw a kid that I recognized, who it turns out was a kid from my church, but we were like so far apart in age that we didn't really know each other. I just knew him because he was, you know, a kid from my church. And I pulled the counselor aside and I said, "Hey, is that David Chesney?" And his counselor said, "I don't know his name." That kid had been at camp for 5 days. So my advice is names are incredibly important. And I know there's a lot going on, but if you pick some of the little stuff, like making sure you have a way, if names are hard for you, you have to invent a system. Names are hard for me. As it turns out, camp ruined my brain for names. I've just had so many people in my life that way that I have to write stuff down. I have to be really intentional about it to remember people's names. But that's really important that a kid knows that you know their name. So that you're not always constantly like typical camp counselor, "Hey guys," or "Hey folks," or whatever. "Hey buddy."
I would, yes. And
great.
Look, Travis, names are hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And when you're in staff training and then, 60, 90, 140 kids arrive the next day, it's going to overwhelm whatever mnemonic that you set up for yourself to remember names. What I would suggest normalizing asking people what their name is without
And make
it
them
being
practice
offensive.
it.
Yes.
Yes. In staff training, I hated like sort of role-playing scenarios,
Mhm.
but every
Really,
one of
you?
these, and I think our staff hated them too, maybe because the leadership hated them. But all of these, I keep thinking of things you could practice.
Mhm.
Practice normalizing asking people their names. It's served me well as an adult with stuff like neighbors, where I end up having a conversation with them at the mailbox, and we have a community mail, like a street mailbox instead of ones at our houses,
Yeah.
and having a conversation there. And like after 6 years, at some point, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I have never asked you your name.
Yeah. Or remind me of your name.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
Remind me of your name. Like, this isn't a
Yeah.
game show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know
Yeah.
who you are. We get our mail
Yeah.
like every day. We chat. So
Yeah.
clearly I know who you are.
Yeah.
Not knowing your name isn't a sign of disrespect. It's just, I just don't know your name.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah.
And, and then once you ask 2 or 3 times, yeah, get it. But that's part of the practice. So, that goes back to like the first thing I said. I would say to young counselors, new counselors, like, it's going to be okay. If you forget the name, just ask and just normalize asking for kids' names if you don't know it. Come over for a second. What's your name again? Because I'm Chris. I'm Chris. Okay. Okay. You're Jeff? Cool. Thanks, Jeff. I just wanted to know your name. And and people get on with their day without insult or injury.
Yeah.
Which is such a silly thing. Like, it's like some sort of weird like test.
And honestly, I think it is always worse for the person asking than for the person being asked. I think it's harder to ask it and admit that than the person be like, "Oh yeah, my name's Travis." It's hard to remember.
I think it's stinging on both sides.
Okay.
I think it's stinging on both sides because it's like, 1, I see you every day, you don't know my name.
Sure.
And 2, I see you every day, I don't know your name.
Yeah.
It's like, I think on both sides it stings, but it really doesn't have to. At your camp, you can create a culture that is completely unlike what happens in the real world.
Yeah.
And at your camp, it could just be like, hey, we ask each other our names, like, not a big deal.
Right. Yeah. That's great.
Mm-hmm. That's a great little list. Everyone do that.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
Travis and Chris's
that's
big
not how it
list
works.
of little things. Every year, it's the same thing. Lots of hours spent working on the daily schedules, only for there to be mistakes, missed activities, lots of stress, and upset. Why is this so difficult? There's got to be a better way. There is. It's Camptivities, an activity scheduler made specifically for camps by camp people. Group scheduling or camper scheduling, they've got you covered. There's different day schedules. That's not a problem. It's auto scheduling, elective scheduling, batch scheduling. Just schedule the way that works for you, your camp, and the way you run things. With over 50 reports, you'll be able to see the data easily. When a parent calls and says, my camper didn't get an activity week 1, pull up the group activity tracker and see exactly when that activity was scheduled all summer long. Figure out and be able to tell that parent this is when it's going to happen next. Modernize the way you do activity scheduling. Make it easier to collaborate with team members, get rid of the mistakes, and make sure your campers are getting to all of the activities they want to. They would love to show you the next big thing in camp. Don't wait until the new year. Start the onboarding process now and save 15% for this coming season. Visit camptivities.com to set up a time to chat with them. Let them help you get away from your desk and back out at camp. So now it is time for our Tool of the Week.
Tool of the Week.
I'm going to start this time. I don't usually start. I have had a long obsession with an app that I can't find. When I had my very first smartphone, someone made this app that somehow Apple ruined. That was it was an app on the home screen. I could hold the button. I could record a voice note. I would let go of the button, and it would automatically send that voice note to myself in email. Like, it was the only thing it did. Take the recording, send it to me. And I could do it while I was driving. Like, I did all the time, and then somehow Apple killed it. So I've been looking for that same thing, and I keep thinking, like, all these people talk about no-code apps, like how easy it is to build an app these days. So I was like, that's the app I want to build. I have found one that's very close. Very close. And I like it because the developer's super open to ideas. It's called Talk Notes. And you can, like, it doesn't actually have an app right now. It's a a browser app, so you can put a bookmark on your home screen on your phone.
Mhm.
But it's like 3 steps to start recording, which is the problem that I hope gets fixed. But I can record a thing. I can record up to 20 minutes, and it will transcribe it, send me the recording, and it comes in my email. Like there's a few steps to set up that thing. I had to use Zapier to set up to send an email, but so it's so close. It's Talk Notes. It's worth investing in. It's one single developer who's super open.
Mhm.
He takes suggestions and does lots of really cool things. And I think he's also good at saying, "Yeah, I don't think that's what this app is for. We'll just keep it simple." So check out the show notes at camphacker.tv/podcast for the links to the stuff that we're talking about in every tool of the week. Talk Notes is my tool.
You love a voice note.
I do. Somebody I saw.
Everyone should know.
Yeah,
If you don't know Travis personally, Travis loves a voice note. Like,
absolutely.
voice notes from you all the time.
I make people stop sending me plain text because especially between Android and iOS, they don't. Oh, you can't do voice notes. Like we're getting in WhatsApp because I can't not do voice notes. So I do love voice notes. It's
you do love voice notes. It's like you're one of the only people I know who are so dedicated to leaving a voice note, and it's kind of cool. It's just, especially in New York. I always have my earbuds in, so it's usually not a problem.
Sure.
Anyway, and you can get the point across so much quicker in a minute than it would take you for typing.
To thumb it out, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't need to sell voice notes to the public. What I do want to sell the public on, however, is this cool website called makeplayingcards.com. Now, if you've been listening to this, you may know that I'm a huge nerd. Huge, like bigger than you think, for sure. And I play a ton of board games and a ton of card games. And sometimes I even make up games. MakePlayingCards.com is a place for you to go. You can upload your own design and create your own playing cards. Now, that could just be as simple as like a regular deck of 52 cards, but you put your camp logo on the back. Mm-hmm. And there it is. Boom. That's just a deck of cards. It looks like it is a professionally made deck of cards. Also, you can put art on the front and make it a deck of cards for whatever you want, for training, for cabins, for whatever. I will say the website is bulk pricing is where you want to go. Like you'd want to order like 250 of these. I don't know if you want to sell them or whatnot. But it's just so cool. And not for nothing, it's the kind of thing that when I was young playing games, I was like, oh, wow, it's so cool that this game has cards. Like it just seemed like the kind of thing that as like a normal mortal, I would not be able to create game components like this. Yeah. But now I can have a deck of card that has my face on the back of it. Or like, boom, or like my face for the King of Hearts, like boom, take that, bam. That's just cool. So check it out. Just check it out. MakePlayingCards.com.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a second and make sure that you remember that there are more Go Camp Pro shows that are excellent and that we're very proud of. And so we want to give you a chance to find some. We spend some time at the end of every show highlighting one or two of those, usually one. And so today I want to take you back to a show we're not actually producing anymore, but the information is so good that I hope you still listen to it. If you run a nonprofit camp, the Fundraising at Camp podcast is amazing. I had only basic information about fundraising, and I feel so much more confident doing it. Got back on a camp board as a fundraising person because of the stuff I learned from doing the Fundraising at Camp podcast. I'm the teach me person, and Joe and Heather spent 2 seasons teaching me great stuff. So it's such a good foundation to feel more confident in fundraising. I know it's really hard for lots of us, but it gives you a lot of confidence and gives kind of a system to make it a little easier to think of these things and to do the stuff required to raise money for camp. So please check out Fundraising at Camp in your podcast app. Thanks for a great episode, Chris. I'm so grateful.
Travis, as you know, I'm always thrilled to talk to you.
Right on.
Always.
I'm looking forward to our next episode.
Yes,
we're recording in Tri-State, and we're not going to tell you about.
Yeah, the tease. You're punishing the audience. Oh, thanks, Travis.
You're welcome. If people have follow-up questions, how do they get in touch?
Oh, easily. You get on the interwebs.
No.
And you can email me, Chris@planetchris.net. If you want to check out what my life is like, go to planetchris.one. What am I saying? Go to @planetchris1 on Instagram, and you can DM me there as well. I don't post often, but it's a great way to get in contact with me because I'm on Instagram constantly.
Right on. That's great. And if folks have ideas or suggestions for other shows, you can reach me at travis@gocamp.pro. Thanks for the evening, friends.
The Camp Hacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Camp Pros. We love that our industry is built on sharing. In order to foster that spirit, if you've gotten even one good idea from a Go Camp Pro podcast, a masterclass, from the Summer Camp Pros group on Facebook, at a conference, or wherever else, we ask that you give credit where credit is due. That way, we can encourage camp pros to keep freely sharing their brilliant ideas and make the camp industry better. Thanks very much.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. Quick, free, repeatable, you'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.